What kind of leader is needed to make a group of stars play well together?
That is a good question, because you can see that from two angles. One angle is the business side, and one side is obviously the sporting angle. And as the sports is very much related to stars on both sides, it has to be somebody who kind of gained credibility, authenticity in his job. For example, in the business, from a business angle, we have our executives coming from a very successful career. So people who really gained knowledge over decades and were very successful players, like world champions, European champions. They won the Champions League. That's the reason why that makes it so credible and so credibly successful. The on-pitch discussion is pretty much the same. You have a leader who gained success in the past couple of years in terms of winning titles, Champions League, European Championship. Those guys that experience, they have a lot of responsibility they take over. They have a lot of self-confidence. And that, I would say, is one of the most important things in order to lead a team on pitch.
What does your office do in the Americas?
We started basically in the US in order to expand to Central and South America after 3 years working successfully in the market. The reason why we expanded, or why we said we're going globally, is because of 90% of all our revenues are coming from the core market. The core market is Central Europe, and we know that we have 650 million followers worldwide, and those revenues are coming mostly from 30 million fans. So what we said is we need to go outside the market, abroad, and get to know those fans. That's the reason why we started building an office in New York, in order to grow the fan base, build the brand, and looking for any kind of mutually beneficial partnerships. In order to do that, we decided to build an entire media infrastructure specifically for the US, now specifically for the Spanish language countries. Being said, we try to hit the tone of voice in those markets by having people, editors, producing content specifically for those countries. We're looking for any kind of media partnerships in order to distribute our content, distribute Bundesliga content, our content, in order to spread the word and build the brand. We're also looking for any kind of partnerships in terms of coaching, educational. We're working with young kids, we're working with kids between 16 and 19 at the elite level. We work with colleges, universities, in order to help to grow the level of sports, and at the same time building Bayern Munich's brand. And then in the end, looking for any kind of partnership, marketing partnership, sponsorship, which will be mutually beneficial, because brands will be associated with one of the biggest sports organizations in the world.
How does Bayern Munich select its players?
That is a good question. So as I'm more from the business side, I can definitely tell you how the sporting side would act. We're operating with a global network of scouts. So we do scouting everywhere. As we based here in New York and overseeing the Americas, we obviously have our people from the sporting department coming over on a regular basis in order to find the right people. That actually led to the fact that we recently signed a young player from Vancouver Whitecaps, from the MLS, Alphonso Davies, and we are about to do something similar pretty soon. And we do that while we have a very good scouting system in Munich, and they scout all players worldwide and work in the network, and then go after the instructions of the sporting director, who says we're going to need a specific player on that position, and then we're going to try to find the right man.
How does it develop young, promising talents?
It is something what you have to start very early. So knowing that transfer fees went to the roof, we decided to build an academy, a state-of-the-art academy we opened last year, in order to create talents which will be the future. So what you do is you start at a level between 12, 13 and 14 to get those players from everywhere in order to kind of teach them your curriculum and the way how you play football. And that is something which is probably the most important part for a club, because it is a huge difference paying 150, 200, 250 million years for transfer fees than developing a player in your own academy. Yes, the most important thing is to give them the feeling of a family, and this is one of our core values. Being treated like in a family, because young kids, they're mostly not coming from Munich, they're coming from abroad, or they're coming from far distance, and they need to have that feeling in order to develop themselves. Give them self-confidence, give them time to develop, give them time to get education, and you will make them to good players. Not always sure if they can make it to the first team of Bayern Munich, but they get a great education, great coaching at our academy, and they don't have to play always for Bayern Munich. They can also play for other Bundesliga teams, and we produced lots of talents of that kind.